कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताया पतये नमः। जयत्याश्रितसन्त्रास ध्वान्तविध्वंसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः परमव्योमभास्करः।
श्रीमते निगमान्त महादेशिकाय नमः। Sita, who heard Rama's voice of distress. For her it was Rama's voice, though we may understand that to be Maricha who was mimicking Rama. To her it was Rama's voice. She was extremely disturbed, worried for Rama, and she commanded Lakshmana to leave the place and go in search of Rama. Lakshmana at that point in time suggests, Yo Ramam pratiyudhyeta samare vasavopamam avadhyaha samare ramo naivam tvam vaktumarhasi. It is not easy to defeat my brother Rama at all. In other words, Mata, my brother is invincible. Given that you have lived so many years as his beloved wife, you will know that for sure. So it is not Rama's voice, it is somebody else who is mimicking in Rama's voice. Sita immediately says, all these years I was thinking you were rendering selfless service, Lakshmana, but you are an enemy in the disguise of a friend. This is my understanding. Saumitre mitra rupena bhratustvam shatruvat yastwamasyam avasthayam bhrataram nabhipadyase lobhattu matkrite nunam nanu gacchasi raghavam vyasanam te priye manye sneho bhratarina stite. You have no affection towards your brother Rama. Don't act. You have been waiting for the scenario where your brother will be not home so that you can get very close to me. As soon as she says this, Lakshmana says, I can't leave you in the forest alone. Natvamasmin vanehatum utsahe raghavam vina. When Rama is not there, I am not there. How can I leave you alone, Mata? But he says, I can't even go against your command. You are like a devata to me. I worship you, Mata. What you say is not just a statement, it is an instruction to me. See how Lakshmana manages that situation. Imagine, I'm just taking you slightly away from Ramayana. We had been in that position, selflessly serving one lady and her husband for 13 years, at the end of which, instead of rewarding, that lady character maligns me, accuses me of bad character. I would have said, do whatever you can, and I would have left that place. But that is Lakshmana's devotion, magnanimity. He said, Mata, I can't leave you alone. At the same time, I worship you like a devata, like a devi. How can I leave you? How can I not follow your instruction? Uttaram notsahe vaktum daivatam bhavati mama. Mata, I am caught in this dilemma. Whether to leave this place, taking your sentence as a command, an instruction upon me by a devi like you, or should I stay with you because there is nobody else here to protect you? I am in a dilemma, Mata. You know what Sita says further? Godavarim pravekshyami. I will jump into these flowing waters of Godavari, Lakshmana. Hina Ramena Lakshmana abandhisye athava tyakshe vishame dehamatmanaha. I will strangle myself to death from the branch of a tree. Vishame dehamatmanaha. Pibami va visham tikshnam pravekshyami hutashanam. I will jump into blazing fire. I will drink a cup of poison. If you further stay here, I don't want to be with you. Look at Sita's emotions. Maybe she didn't say it from her heart. Even with that agitated mind, when Sita says, we can't even imagine how Mata Sita could say such words. I will jump into Godavari, I will drink poison, I will strangle myself to death, I will jump into fire. As such, the situation is grim. The one who has left the house, Rama, has not come back. There is some distress cry in his voice asking for help. And it is in the middle of dense forests, surrounded by many Rakshasas. How delicate the situation was for Lakshmana to leave Sita. If he leaves Sita and something happens to her, the blame will be on him. If he continues to stay here, she will further malign him. How Lakshmana handles that situation? Now Lakshmana says, Mata, with so much of accusation on me that I am actually an enemy in the disguise of a friend, I have been waiting all these years to have a relationship with you, and you threatening that you will jump into Godavari, fire, drink poison, strangle yourself. If I further continue to stay here, I may be proving what you have said is all true. I have to leave this place. That time he proclaims, Nimittani hi ghorani yani pradurbhavanti me apitvam saharamena pashyeyam punaragataha rakshantu tvam vishalakshi samagra vanadevataha. Mata, I sense the omens around me. Nimittani hi ghorani. Today, looking at the omens, the nature showcases itself to me. I feel something very wrong is going to happen. Apitvam saharamena pashyeyam punaragataha. Now I shall leave this place. But when I come back with Rama, see, he is so confident that the person who has cried for help is not Rama. He says, when I come back with Rama, I don't know whether I will be seeing you. He says, Apitvam saharamena pashyeyam punaragataha. Then he says, he looks at the open air and says, Rakshantu tvam vishalakshi. Oh, the large-eyed one, Sita. Samagra vanadevataha. Let the deities in the forest protect you, Mata. I pray to them. And he left. Now you may be wondering, Sir, you haven't mentioned an important episode, because we have seen in serials and movies, he will take one arrow from his quiver, recite some mantra and draw that line. Sir, that is Lakshman Rekha, sir, very important Rekha. Even in our political discussions, we say, don't cross Lakshman Rekha, don't cross that Lakshman Rekha. People may say, but there is no concept of Lakshman Rekha in our Ramayanam. Valmiki doesn't mention. There is no Lakshman Rekha in Valmiki's Ramayanam, which is the original Adi Kavyam Pramana Ramayanam written by Valmiki, agreed by Rama, sung by his sons, or agreed upon by Sita, authored by Valmiki. That which was authored by Valmiki, sung by the sons Lava and Kusha in the presence of Rama, agreed upon by all our Trimathacharyas, by all our commentators. There is no Lakshman Rekha. Lakshmana doesn't take one arrow, recite one mantra, draw that line, nothing of this happens. So Lakshman Rekha is not found in Valmiki Ramayanam for sure. He of course says, Rakshantu tvam vishalakshi samagra vanadevataha. Let the forest deities protect you. This cry for help by Lakshmana is heard by Jatayu. In some of our previous episodes, we did see where Rama, Lakshmana and Sita come in association with Jatayu. And Jatayu says, don't worry, she is like my daughter, like my daughter-in-law, like my daughter, a daughter-in-law. How the father or father-in-law will take care of that lady, I will take care of this lady. So this cry of help by Lakshmana reaches the ears of Jatayu. That is for sure. but there is no line drawn. Now, why did she have to utter such harsh words? See, this man has been serving her selflessly. She could have said, Lakshmana, don't argue with me, leave this place. I command you. All this she could have said. Finally, she said, I will jump into fire, I will jump into water, I will drink poison, I will strangle myself to death. You want to have a relationship with me? You are an enemy in the disguise of a friend. All these loose statements we don't expect. See, if I speak, you can expect. Normal human beings can speak. Sita Mata, did she speak, sir? Is it mentioned? Yes, it is mentioned. So, why did she speak? Well, when somebody is angry or disturbed, they may utter certain things. But can this go unchallenged? So, remember this, when we deal with Agni Pariksha in Yuddha Kandam towards the end, I will invoke this. So, remember this episode while I speak about that episode. Now, Right Honorable V.S. Srinivasa Shastri in the Ramayana brings a beautiful conclusion to this debate. Whether Sita should have spoken, avoided, she could have used better words, avoided these sentences. He says, quote, if she was wiser, she might have refrained from using the harsh expressions that she did. But who is wise in anger? In acute misery of that nature? Does anybody do so? And yet, we expect it of poor Sita. So the author gives a very radical explanation. He says, though we may regard her as Jagannatha Mahalakshmi who incarnated as Sita, at the end of the day, that is a human being Sita. The divine chose to be human. And humans have this trait of getting disturbed or agitated very easily. And that too in that acute misery. Husband is gone, we don't know the whereabouts of the husband, the only person staying is Lakshmana, he has to be dispatched for the rescue of the husband. So she may have uttered things which are harsh, which are very illogical. But then he says, who is wise in anger? When somebody gets angry, do you think they'll be wise? They will do things physically, verbally, mentally, which is not correct. So, when we are ourselves so imperfect, we expect Sita alone to be perfect. So he says, let's forgive Sita in that particular scenario. But was Sita actually forgiven? No. In Agni Pariksha, we have to see that. Now, when Lakshmana leaves and says, let the Vanadevataha protect you, it actually was a cry for help from Jatayu. And Jatayu understands this. Now, as Lakshmana leaves, the situation becomes even more grim. Surrounded by Rakshasas in the forest, we don't know in which form they will come. Tall trees, even for the sun's rays to creep between the leaves, it will take time. They were that tall trees. Thick forest, dense forest. Even during the day, it used to be slightly dark. It became darker. The trees that gently sway and give that cool breeze did not move. Godavari started flowing slowly. Generally, she flows at a speed. She started flowing slowly. Sandrishyana prakampante na pravati cha marutaha shighrastotraschatam drishtva vikshantam raktalochanam stitimitam gantumorebhe bhayad Godavari nadi. Even Godavari was worried. The trees did not sway. The birds did not move. Nobody by her side. Situation is grim. That is when she hears the sound of a mendicant. Bhavati bhiksham dehi. Bhavati bhiksham dehi. As he walked, the little fine dust on the earth got dispersed in the air. In that he walked. Slakshana kashaya samvitaha. He was dressed in kashayam robes. Shiki with a shikha. Chhatri with an umbrella. Upanahi. Vame chamse vajasyatha shubhe yashti kamandalu. He was holding kamandalam in one hand. Parivrajaka rupena. Parivrajaka means sannyasi in the ashrama of a sannyasi. Because sannyasi has given up all his relationships, wealth. So this is the only relationship we can trust. He will not ask anything from us. He will not misbehave with us. This was her assumption too. Parivrajaka Rupena Vaidehi Manvavartata. He stood in front of Vaidehi. As he comes, he looks Sita for the first time. He has only heard about her from Shurpanakha. Now he comes there and he's asking for bhiksha, alms. See how he asks. Raupyakanchana varnabhe pitakausheya vasini kamalanam shubham malam padmininiva cha bibhati hrihi shrihi kirtihi shubha lakshmi rapsarava shubhanani. He asks for alms. What is Sita's reaction? Next episode. Dear Astika reader, I am happy to be authoring a 2-part book on the Ramayana in English. The first part is slated for release in the year 2024. The book aims to recreate and retell the Ramayana of Valmiki, conforming to the ancient commentaries and other allied literature. To receive notifications of the book release, kindly register with www.deshikadaya.org/books. Namaskaram.